Right, we are back. There is a slight glitch with my overlay, but we'll see if we can't get that fixed in a second. I think it's just reading from the incorrect Twitch window. Whoa, that's definitely not the one that we want. Oh my gosh. What is happening? Let's try this again. Oh my lord, everything's broken. Alright, we'll get this fixed momentarily, and we're going to be bringing Ruin in for a for our meta discussion. That should be pretty good. Whoa, that looks close, but also very, very, very wrong. Alright, let's, don't know why this is bugging out, but we will try fixing this really quick before we get started. Let's see if this helps solve it at all. You know, you get really excited about doing a stream, and then all of a sudden OBS flips out. Oh, there it's kind of sort of is. Alright, we're gonna get this fixed really quickly. Sorry for the delay, everybody, but we are gonna get this fixed, and when we do, it will be fantastic once more. Alright, almost done. Alright, that looks about right. Now we just need to chroma key this thing out real quick, and then we'll be good to go. Alright, looks like we're set. I'm gonna go ahead and try and get in. Get Ruin in chat here, and we will carry on. Alright, here we go. We're going to give Ruin a call and see if we can't get this rolling.
what's up, man?
Hello.
Turn the stream off.
I'm
So I
churning
don't
you,
have to appear.
churning you up.
Alright, alright.
All right, that seems to work.
So everything's good now?
Yeah, I think so. If people on the stream can just let us know how the equalization of volume sounds, that would be cool. But yeah, I think we're good. So this match on the stream right now between Magma Bob and Jacob is about to end. Magma Bob is fascinating himself by the power of the new Hattori. And because he doesn't play sword and spear, he doesn't play sword characters. But he's like, yeah, I can dig it. I'm a whole stock ahead.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like new Hattori. Hattori has been near the top for a while. It's just the new changes have pushed her back to almost where she used to be in terms of being stronger than everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll probably end up talking about that quite a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we'll just do, if you're down, like I think we'll just do the whole same kind of thing that we did last time, and just kind of get in a match with some different characters, talk about all the new changes, and then we'll answer everybody's burning questions,
Yeah.
which should
think-
be good.
I think the two we have to start with, obviously, is Teros and Nai. I think that just, makes sense.
Yeah, those are definitely the big ones. Definitely the big ones.
Those are the two biggest changes this patch. In regards to the characters, nothing else really got changed too much. We could talk about guns, obviously, but that'll be different. But new specials and new character. Who doesn't want to talk about those?
Yeah. No, I think the changes for Nai have been awesome. Maybe that's what we should do. This match just ended, so maybe what we can do is we'll get in a room. I'll make a new one and kind of lock it down so
Okay.
we don't get any weird interruptions.
Yeah.
And
Especially-
then, all these people with their stuff. I don't actually know how the private rooms work. Like,
I think they can still, you can get in with the number, I think is what it is. It locks it so people can't just join from your friend list.
oh, well, everyone's still going to see the number. So anyway, go ahead and hop on in. You'll see it in the room list. I'm just going to put it to like 20-minute games so we can experiment with some stuff. Kind of demonstrate some things on stream, and then we can do some actual matches later on.
Yeah. I need a number. It's private right now.
It's 6707.
Alright.
All right, there we go.
Team's on. Alright, okay.
We'll turn those off. I'll play Teros because I really want to love Teros.
Alright.
Teros is breaking my heart right now.
The
But,
axe is so close. It's good. You can see that it's good. It's just that having 3 decks or low decks in general is so bad for a character right now. It's crippling, honestly. But you can tell that it's like the axe on a faster character is just gonna be like ridiculous. Like the end lag on his ground moves is like really laggy.
Yeah.
But the air moves are all so fast.
Yeah, I think it's strange because with these slower characters, you don't want to play with them in the air, but really I feel like that's where the axe is shining the most.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So what are your overall impressions on Teros? Like, is he a viable 1v1 character right now?
For 1v1, I don't think so. I mean, I see Teros's, and it's like they can't really deal with the fast characters. They can't really do with they can't deal with the pressure that they can put out. And he can't, if you can keep him away from a weapon, he's worthless.
Yeah.
And with a fast character or a character in 1v1, anyone that's faster than him, which is almost everybody, you can just keep them away from weapons the entire game, and it's really hard for them to get in. If you can get an axe with him though, he can hold his own. Just because of how fast it is in the air. But I still put him near the bottom of all of the champions.
Yeah, it's something I've struggled with because I feel like he's one of the ways that I've been trying to think about him is that he's kind of a high risk, high reward character. Like there's some matches where you can get 3 stocked and other matches where if you just have that momentum early on, you can just go ahead and 3-stock the other guy. Because I think his damage output is really good, and the force on some of his moves are great, but it all comes down to whether or not you can actually hit with him.
Yeah, that one's good.
Yeah, this is probably like the best signature he's got.
So yeah, basically, if you can get the reads, it's fine. I think he's gonna be fantastic in 2v2s. I've been playing some custom lobbies with people with 2v2s. And, he's actually become my go-to pick for 2v2s right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
And in 1v1, you've still been maining Hattori, right? For the record, for the.
Yeah, I'm slowly switching to a not super top tier, but that'll be a while. Just because how strong Hattori is right now.
Yeah.
I'm picking up Orion, which eventually maybe, but for right now it'll still be Hattori.
So let's talk about Queen Nai's new signatures really quick. Do you think that these have alleviated Queen Nai's previous issues, which were mainly like movement and positioning problems?
It doesn't alleviate like all of the issues. It helps, but it's hard to get into space for the specials. Like her specials with the spear really help the zoning, which is what I feel like the spear is best at on her. So like keeping people out basically, and then you have that moves like that to keep them away, and then that to the anti-dive kick move, which everybody has now.
Yeah.
And then obviously the old snake, which has always been fantastic.
Yeah, I'm really glad that they left that one the way that it was, because I know that they changed a lot of the old signature moves on some of the other characters, where they, you know, like Vrax's old signatures, like his old gun signature completely disappeared. So it's nice that they kept that. What do you think about her Qatar moves that you just killed me with?
They're really good. They're really good. Like that one, the movement on it makes it so much easier to just land on somebody because it's a burst of speed from Nai. You know? You're not really expecting that. Like the range on it is just really good. If you can catch her before the wings come out on it, it's really vulnerable. Just because it's just like there's no hitbox. It's just her lunging herself at you for a minute.
Yeah.
But like the fact that it gives you that extra movement to help with the spacing really helps. I love this one.
Yeah, it's so good. It's one of those like useful in all situations. And what's interesting about it is that all of those two signature moves have really given like a Qatar character what Qatars typically don't have, which is a lot of reach. Which I think is something that's really kind of helped solve a lot of her issues. Like I'm pretty happy with moving her out of B tier. Like I don't think she's a B tier character anymore. Like in my opinion, like the new signatures make up for it. Like her playstyle still has to be different from, you know, a lot of the faster, more agile characters. But I think her new signatures did a really good job of kind of addressing some of the issues she had.
Yeah, her new signatures are really good. And they really complement her playstyle really well, which is a really good thing.
It's funny to me though because you know they were developing Teros's signature moves in tandem with Nai's, and the thing that's really been bugging me about Teros and why I'm not sure if I can put him outside of B tier, or even in like, you know, his own special tier all to his own, is because all of his signature moves are so slow. Like all of them have this incredible amount of startup time and recovery time. That just make them really ineffective in my opinion. Like, unless you get like the perfect read, like let's say that I'm charging an attack, there's still all of this extra startup time before the move actually comes out. So if you see me charging, you know, I can't react to your attack unless you completely whiff it, like, you know, you just did.
It's like you can't use it on reaction. Everything with him has to be a read.
Exactly, and
it's not a reaction.
And it's, to me, like that seems counterintuitive to his playstyle. Like I think that if they had made Teros this kind of like burly walking man tank thing, like I would have been really into it. But his signatures are all so slow that you can't really play a reactive style. You just have to guess. And so if the other guy is just waiting for you to, you know, use a move before he actually goes in, you're just going to lose out every single time. And for me, like, that's really what's preventing Taros from being 1v1 viable right now. Is like, he just, if you're playing against someone who's smart, they're just gonna wait
Yeah.
for you to do anything and then punish you.
That's a big problem with them.
And it's something like I was playing a couple of games where I was playing against someone who was playing Taros, and I played as Lucian, and I could just use his gun signature move over and over again to punish everything that Taros did on the ground. Whether it was a dodge, a regular attack, you know, all of his moves had so much startup that I had time to dodge and then attack immediately afterwards.
Yeah, that's a Lucian's gun signature is really good. But the point still stands where you just react to what he's doing, and just like it's like he's a really slow character, but he still has to make the first guess, which is kind of bad. Kind of hurts us like overall just what you can do with that character. That's not to say I haven't played people who have done really well with him.
Yeah.
But like they're not doing well because like of the character or anything like that. They're doing well because they're reading, and that's not really a.
It's not a character balance thing. It's how good that player is at making reads.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, and it's like if they can read like that on that character, then like. Imagine someone who reads that well on a faster character or a character that has more to offer than Taros. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's the whole point. Is like when people talk about tier lists and things like that, it's like you can't factor in player skill. It's like how easy it is to do well with that character, like based on like the number of reads you need or how easy it is to get the reads or like.
Well, like for me, it's not so much about how easy it is. It's more about like consistency, right? So like in a battle of two equally matched Hattoris in a mirror match, like it'll go 50-50, right? Like that's the concept because neither player has a character advantage. But for instance, like Nai versus Taros, like pretty much every Queen Nai versus Taros game I've played, Nai usually comes out on top because her signatures are just so much more useful. So like I'd argue that Nai versus Taros is like a 7-3 matchup with Nai winning out every time. Just because she can outspace him and punish him really, really heavily, and Taros just doesn't have that option as much. So that's kind of more the way that I think about it with tier is like against Hattori, like Taros goes like maybe 2 wins out of 10, I'd think.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to punish everything that he does. And when I said easy, I didn't necessarily mean like easy to play, but like if you like to make a read on someone like a really fast character like Hattori right now, like I can throw out a move, force you to dodge, and then punish that dodge. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that makes getting the read easier, not necessarily like. I didn't mean easy as in like easy to execute or anything like that. You know, it's just it makes the reads. Like I can force situations and then read off of the situation, as opposed to just trying to read off of like in neutral game.
Yeah, which is a big part of this because I mean when you're playing against a faster character, they have so many opportunities to change direction and reposition themselves easily, and I think Taros just really struggles against that. He's very mistake reliant. Like the other guy has to be making mistakes, I think, for Taros to be effective, and that just doesn't really happen as frequently in higher levels of play. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
I agree. That's the problem, and like in other games like this, that's the problem that every slower character has. Like they're slow, and they just if the other person doesn't mess up, then it's really hard to win with that. That's just.
Well, let's shift topics a little bit because we've talked about both of these characters. I feel really sad about Taros being as like bad as he is
Damn.
in 1v1, but I think, like, to your point, I think he might find a home in 2v2, which will be really interesting to see how that evolves.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I love him in 2v2s. He's actually really fun.
yeah, and I think is part of that whole thing. Like he needs that kind of like distraction time to set up his signature moves and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
But that kind of goes to what we were talking about the last time about like characters not needing to be good in 1v1s to be
in the
you know,
game,
in
yeah,
the game. Yeah. not every character has to be a 1v1 character, so I think it's I think it's fine.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about weapon damage, because this is a topic. I know that you saw my post on the forums, and this
Yeah.
is something that I've been thinking about, what kind of additional effects this could have had on the game balance. So for anybody in chat who doesn't know what I'm talking about, in 1.8, what they did was they nerfed the weapon damage to about a third of its previous values. So previously, a hammer toss at low velocity would do around 9 points of damage, and now that it does anywhere from 3 to 5. So depending on like your forward momentum, and there were a couple like small variables that I looked at, like if you're holding down forward when you throw, it'll do like an extra point of damage and stuff like that. But if you're just tapping, you know, the throw button with a hammer, it used to do 9 points and now it does 3. So
Yeah.
the thing that's interesting about this that I've been trying to figure out is that, and my current stance is, and we can talk about whether you agree with this or not, is that nerfing the weapon damage has made it easier for low armor characters to thrive in this game. And my thinking for that is basically because, you know, previously for a lot of the slower characters, one of the best ways to punish was to throw a weapon and pick up another one. But now with, you know, weapon damage being nerfed by 33%, you're effectively tripling the amount of punishes that's required before you can get a light armor character, you know, down to the red. So I tested this out on Hattori. I was playing as Cassidy just because I wanted like a 5 force character for, you know, damage normalization purposes, and it took me 40 hits to get her to red. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I know previously it wasn't like, oh yeah, you just hit them with 3 weapons and they're at red. It wasn't like that, but it's still this huge amount of change from before. And I think that it's making, that's part of the reason why Hattori's viable again, is because she's not receiving as much damage as quickly as she used to, which is giving her more time to run her super speedy shenanigans.
That definitely has something to do with it, because I know since I've started, one of the main things that I had issues with was people just, because okay, if you are close enough to somebody, like there's a window where they just, like, if I throw from like right here, there's no way you're reacting to it in time. Just, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, and previously that's 10 damage. That's just 10 damage that you just take, and you can't really dodge it. Unless I throw it 8 times in a row. That's
Right.
obvious. Yeah.
Clearly.
And if you're playing neutral and you're like staying away from somebody, or you're like trying to space them out, and then all of a sudden they're just like, yep. Oh, obviously I'm not good at it, but they can throw that for like 10 damage. That's just unpunishable, basically. But that leaves them at the risk of like losing their weapon. But basically, like right now, it does like almost no damage, like you just said.
Right.
So it's a lot. It's like I can just ignore it. I can just take that hit, which is not how it. I don't think it makes much sense for me to just be able to just ignore the hit and keep going, because like when I'm playing that zoning game and you throw your weapon and it hit me, but like it doesn't do much damage, and now I know where you're gonna go because you want the weapon back. So it's like I don't know. It's really not really good. I think it needs to be more damage, basically.
Yeah, I think that
I don't know.
part of what they were trying to do with this was prevent this whole like people spamming weapon tosses, right?
Yeah.
When the problem is like for slower characters like Teros, for example, like this tactic you were talking about where you're just tossing the weapon at close range, the problem is that if you compare the speed of the toss compared to any other normal, like the speed of the toss comes out faster than a forward unarmed tilt. You know,
Yeah.
like it comes out at farther range than this, which this is his fastest move, by the way. Like this one and the axe forward quick are his 2 fastest moves, and the weapon toss still comes out faster than that. And so the difference is, for Teros, if he hits you with this move, I think this is around 17 points of damage, right?
Yeah.
And if he was to hit you with his hammer, I think this is like 16 or something like that, right? And it has a lot more force than some other properties, which is great, because previously, if you were outdistanced and you needed a faster option, you sacrificed a little bit of damage for the weapon toss. But now it's like you can do that. Chances are you're not actually dealing any damage, and now losing your weapon is putting you at a huge disadvantage compared to before.
Yeah.
And so I think that the weapon damage, whereas with like Hattori, like she doesn't need to do this, right? She can just jump up and spam 2 air tilt attacks in that given time, and do 4 times the amount of damage as the old weapon toss. So for me, like, I really, really believe that this was something that hurt the slower characters more so than it did any of the faster guys.
Yeah. It definitely needs. I think it needs more damage than it has now. Like, I'm not saying it needs to go exactly back to where it was, but it needs more. Because I know the devs said that they didn't want it to do that much damage. That's just, I mean, if they don't want it, there's nothing we can say about that. But it's just, like, it needs to do more. Because right now, there's no point. That's you throw in as like 1 damage. So
Yeah.
I can just take it and then.
Hit me with a spike ball, which does 5 times the amount right now.
Well, no, it does like 9 damage without charging it.
Not when I tested it. For me, it was saying 19. So if you were testing it on Hattori, you might have gotten a much lesser damage value, but for Cassidy, it was 19. So I don't know. It's just something where like right now, like the bombs do like 31 flat damage, right?
Yeah.
Like no matter what. And so in addition to weapon tosses being less valuable, part of what's that's done is it is increased the value of map control, because getting to gadgets and weapons and the rest of it just seems like it's a lot more important, because if you can't get to what's gonna actually deliver some damage, then you're just at a bigger disadvantage.
Yeah, and unarmed is very susceptible to anything that has a disjoint, which is everything in the game. So
yeah,
like it's really at a giant disadvantage. So I see Potts decided he's gonna This is a topic that's very
important to Potts.
very important to Potts. Yeah.
Because Potts can no longer play the way that he used to, because it just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
I would imagine. I haven't played Pots and Pans on this patch, but I would imagine that's something that's very true for him.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's just like it needs to do more damage. I don't know if it needs to do the same amount that it did, but like right now it's worthless. It does. You can do as little as 1 damage with a weapon throw, and that's,
like throwing from
might as
above
well.
actually does less damage than throwing towards, like throwing up and down.
Yeah.
And it's happened now, like on the slower characters, it's even worse, because normally these like down tosses are used to punish like approaches, right? And in my matches against Taibo, he was just able to continue to sword up attack through it right afterwards without like even caring. So
yeah. That's how it is a lot of the time now. Is I don't even care. People throw their weapons, and I just take the hits. It doesn't matter anymore.
yeah, it's just like more annoying than anything else.
Yeah. I grabbed the spike ball instead of the ball.
That's what we should do. We should practice our throws.
Yeah. Well, if you just like, I know I play on controller, so I just spam the 2 trigger buttons.
Let's do a 3-stock Taros v Hattori match. Actually, let's do Nai versus Hattori, because I want to take a look at this.
Okay.
Because the nice thing about Nai, and why I think they did a really good job with Nai's signatures, is that Nai no longer has any need to throw her weapons pretty much ever.
Yeah.
Like, unless she's being juggled, like, she just doesn't have to worry about it anymore. Like, once she gets a weapon, she has options. And I don't know. I really like that about her right now. I don't know if it's enough for me to like be like, yes, I am a Nai main, but it's good. And the thing that I like about Nai right now is one of the other things that I've noticed that's pretty useful for. Oh, there we go. There's the juggle. One of the other things I've noticed that is pretty useful for her is, oh, and I'm out of recovery, is like figuring out how how to like continue to abuse your signature move usage, so that when you switch to normal stuff, people get confused.
Yeah. It always helps when you're able to switch up the style in the middle of a match. Because if you're doing something a lot and then you stop doing it, it throws a lot of people off. Well, that has its force reduced by a lot.
Yeah, it did. Oh, it did 3 points of damage. Cool.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like it doesn't matter anymore.
Man. You know, I've been talking to the devs about moving pickup to the throw button for a long time, but it seems like they're paying a lot more attention to the control scheme. They're really trying to take their time on getting it right before they make it more customizable, which is understandable. Like, we're in closed beta. It's just
Yeah, but it's like it's a problem that every single person faces, and I don't see that like people when it goes into open beta, people are gonna have the same problem. So I don't understand. Like I know I've seen posts where they're saying that like they don't want to have 4 buttons, but yeah, I do that.
woohoo!
There's already 4 buttons. You know? So I don't understand why slightly changing one of the buttons matters that much.
Oh, the prioritize! Oh! Man, I really hate the new sword style. I was talking about this on stream earlier.
What do you mean the new sword style?
So, like, previously swords used to be largely about, like, positioning and, like, getting your lockups with downlights. But now, like, the sword game has pretty much devolved into who can spam the most down air lights. Like, it's it's just, like, to me, it's just an unelegant looking way to play. I don't know. I'm probably just being picky.
There's
like 2 things sword people do, man. It's like downlight into air tilt, which is fair, into like multiple air uplights or downlights. Like everything is in the air with the sword, and it's just like completely different from how it was before they nerfed all of its ground game.
But none of those characters have their new specials, so the sword game is a lot better. I think there are issues with the sword, but it's not like the style of it. It's like on Hattori, you can use a sword air tilt, and then the other person dodges, and then you can hit them with
Another air tilt,
another air tilt, or a neutral air, and like you shouldn't be able to punish somebody for dodging.
For dodging, yeah. This is something that I've tried to say it like multiple times in the past about game balance, where it's like if you have a move that can force a dodge and then you can punish the dodge with the same move, something isn't working right. Because if dodging is the only defensive option we have, you know, there's no blocking, there's no grabbing, there's no parries or anything like that. Like if it's the only defensive move that we have, give us a reason to use it and not actually make it be a bad thing, you know?
Yeah. It does. Like that's a problem. I think that's more of a problem with having high dex. Just high dex on the sword. I really think dex is really strong. And it's really strong at the high ends. And really weak on the low ends. So like I think it needs to be brought closer together on both ends. Wow.
I got those setup skills. That was totally intentional.
Yeah, so dex is too strong when you have all of it, and then it's really weak if you have like 3. Like all of the characters with low dex are all like struggling right now. You know?
Yeah, I agree. I think that this was something I was trying to talk to the devs about with Lucian last time we were talking about why he's really good. And it's just because, and I think Magma Bob pointed this out as well on a stream recently, it was like, you know, they're giving 20 points to every character without thinking about how different values, you know, how each stat is valued differently. So you can't just give 20 points because across the board because the person with 3 points in Dex is always going to lose out to the people who are getting it in other stats because the other stats are just more important.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think Dex needs to be adjusted, basically. Like, I don't know, a lot of the stats, like, some of them just are worth more per point. And it's weird that, like, there's a set amount that a character can have, but, like you just said, it's worth more in some than others, so...
Yeah, like Force right now, I don't think Force has a big enough impact on the game. Because in my opinion, like, if you have a character with 3 Force, like, you need to be at, like, critical health damage before anything except a charged heavy knocks you out, right? But we can see from Hattori that it doesn't matter, because her down light attacks in the air can still kill you at orange health.
Yeah.
And so I think, like, it's disproportionate to, like, Teros, for example, who still needs to put down a huge amount of damage on you to get a knockout with, you know, say, like, a air tilt. His air tilt does, like, pathetic force, by the way, compared to other moves. Like, it does basically about as much force as Hattori's sword does. And he has 3 times the amount of force. So yeah. I just think that the way that they're measuring the stats is just not really working correctly as far as, you know, this even distribution model is going.
Yeah, I agree. It's really weird, but like, and I know that it's better than it was, because before it had no effect at all, and now it has some effect, because you're like, with more force, you're still putting out more damage. It's just not like a ton more damage.
Right.
It's just...
It's a 1.5.
Yeah, it's
like, Teros has a 1.5 advantage on his hammer moves compared to, let's see, compared to Cassidy, I believe. Or maybe it's 2 points of damage, right?
Yeah, so something like that. It's
so, like, 3 times the amount of force is providing 2 points of extra damage.
Yeah.
So, to me, that's not really that big of a difference. No, and I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges, because, you know, like, when you think about both Nash and Teros right now, like, and still, like, Queen Nai to some extent, like, in our last game, like, I was able to do an air tilt, and then, you know, in the span of 1 air tilt on Queen Nai, Hattori could pull off 2. Because of how much more attack speed is doing its job than Force. And it's just, you know, the Force armor and attack speed values are really malaligned right now. Like, move speed I get. Like, you can build a character around move speed, I think. But it's something where I think the stats change is really... It needs... The values need to get rebalanced, I think.
Yeah. I think that's fair to say. Because, like, you never really feel the force, like, a ton. You feel it a little bit, but it's not, like, anything crazy most of the time. Not like how you feel Dex. Like, I played Thatch for a game earlier, and I was missing setups that would have hit on Hattori, and getting punished for it a lot when I was playing against Pots.
Yeah.
Like, I would go for something that would always, like, not combo, but it sets up into it. Like a forward air into, like, a downlight from outside the pit, basically. And it sets up on Hattori, and then on Thatch, it just doesn't work because he's not fast enough.
Exactly.
So it's, like, it's weird to, But then on, like, Force characters, none of that really matter. Like, the Force doesn't really change anything, you know? So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's something I think that before they start making changes to stuff like weapon tosses, I would really like them to look at the stats and see how much of an impact the stats are actually having on gameplay. I think that's, like, I don't know. That I think is probably more important now than, like, anything else.
Yeah.
But let's figure out something else to talk about.
Okay. Alright.
Because let's see. So one of the other things that they did in this patch.
Oh, what got me?
Woo! Yeah. One of the other things that they changed was the net code in this last patch, and people have been reporting different things about it. And for a while, there was a theory going around that I may or may not have started. I can't remember, but that the net code has somehow impacted like the speed perceptions of a lot of the faster characters. Have you noticed anything like that?
So, not really. Like, I haven't really noticed anything, like, when I'm playing, you know? And then I watch other people play and it looks faster, but I think it's just people finally, bringing out the most of certain weapons that are really fast right now. Like, I haven't noticed anything from playing Hattori. Like, Hattori feels the same to me now than she always has.
Nice.
But I can see where, like, maybe it's just so subtle that I don't notice it, you know. But I don't know. I don't see any of the differences as of right now.
Trying to look at everything else that's been changed in this patch. I think we've talked about everything except for the elephant in the room, which was the guns rework.
Yeah, that was.
All of the gun changes.
Yeah, I guess I should have picked a gun character. That would have been better.
I will be happy to play a gun character after this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I imagine that you've played quite a few people who you know, play Ada or Vrax or what have you. Like, what's been the interpretation on the guns balance from your standpoint?
I think that some of the hitbox changes were a little bit too far. Like, they're like little tiny circles now. Ah, that hit me.
Woo!
And like, it's really hard to, like, it's hard to space them now, but like not for the reason that I think it should be hard to space them. Like, they should have like a nice disjoint on them, and then they have like the dead zone inside, and you know. But like right now, they're just tiny circles, and they don't even have like great range. It's really like they have decent range, but it's not like the best. It's really weird.
I find it interesting too how they decided to nerf hitboxes and not the damage. Because I almost feel like you could have kept like the style of gameplay a little bit more intact if you had just nerfed the damage on some of the moves, but instead they nerfed hitboxes and left the damage pretty close to where it was previously.
Well, the damage on the down air got nerfed a lot, which it needed. And the hitbox on it needed to change too, because it was...
Yeah, I think, honestly, like, I think that was the only move that really needed a hitbox change, though.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Everything else, it's like, I feel like they overreacted, like they were addressing problems that weren't there. And
Yeah,
I feel like that really hurt the moveset. Like, the downlight was broken. You know, there's no arguing that, but it, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. That was when I thought, when I first saw the changes, was they nerfed everything. It didn't need everything nerfed. It just needed, like...
The downlight and the damage.
Downlight. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that was pretty much it. Like, and then everything got nerfed, and I was like, I don't know. And it seems to be a little bit, it took a hard fall, basically.
The question then is that, did it actually affect the balance for any of the characters who have guns? Like, aside from Thatch, because he was always awful. You know, like, and I think he's still in a bad place. But the, you know, is Ada or Vrax or Lucian actually any worse off? Or are they able to just continue to use their heavy attacks and, you know, kind of ignore the positions where the guns used to have great advantage and just find other ways to maneuver?
No, I think it definitely changes the playstyle, and it changes how you have to play with it. I can't say whether or not it's like too bad for them to play. I think like they're definitely worse off than they were. That's for sure. But they're still some of the best characters right now, minus sorry. But like for the most part, like they can still be the top. But the gun changes really hurt them. I think because the guns, it used to be you could just zone anybody out. because of how far the hitboxes went, and then they shrunk the hitboxes and didn't change where the center of the hitbox was. So now it has a lot less range, so it's harder to zone people out.
Yeah.
To the point where like it gets beat out by a lot of things now that it didn't before, while it still keeps a lot of the weaknesses that it had, which is the hitbox and the insides. Like if someone gets close to you, then you're in a lot of trouble basically. So like you can't just I don't think spamming specials on them is as effective without the threat of having like a really good neutral game like on the guns. So because the reason that the specials were so good, I mean they're good moves and they're fast, but if you don't have a solid neutral game to like scare somebody into a situation to get hit by a special, then having a good special doesn't matter as much. Like, because people aren't gonna go into your specials just because you're standing there. You have to
Right.
pressure them.
Right. You have to force them into making some kind of mistake or
Yeah.
being in a bad position.
Yep.
I think that's fair. I don't know. I don't really think that the characters really had much of a hit, but I do find like that the guns change has kind of it's gimped the weapon. Like whenever I have guns now, I'm like, okay, how can I get in a position for using my signature moves as opposed to having to, you know, like I don't go for the down light setups anymore. Like it's all more just the typical air tilt spacing because for me anyway, like the air tilt kind of feels the same. It doesn't really feel like the change they made has had too much of an impact for me. But I do kind of agree that some of the things, like the standing light or the standing neutral for the guns, like there was no reason to change that. Like it was a great move, and now it's just awkward. You know,
Yeah.
there's no more combos on the gun anymore, which makes it a really boring and like one-dimensional kind of weapon compared to everything else. And so I feel like a lot of the additional changes besides the down light just kind of made it lose a lot of its flavor,
Yeah.
more so than anything else.
I always thought that gun was a boring weapon, to be honest.
Well, everything's boring when you main Hattori, man.
I made Lucian for that patch.
Oh, whatever. He's got, you know, Lucian nonsense. I still feel like people who main Lucian are monsters. They're just all monsters. Man. Yeah, so I know everybody is like waiting for me to put out a tier list on this thing, and I'm planning to do that on Friday. There's probably going to be some shifts. I'm kind of disappointed about how some of it's evolved. I don't really know if Lucian is S tier anymore, but I want to say that the changes really didn't impact him that much.
I mean, one of the reasons I thought he was S tier was how easy it was to keep everyone out with the guns, and it's not as easy anymore. It's actually not easy at all.
Yeah, well, when he's on guns, like he still has an entire weapon set that just revolves around being able to punish everything.
Yeah, I mean, the Katars are. I don't know. Like I never really had an issue with this Katar game, minus the how fast and strong the heavies are.
Mhm.
That was my main issue with Katars. I don't mind that they do combos. I don't mind that they can get in and all that stuff, because they're so short range that it's. I don't want to say it was like really easy to keep them out, but it was when you play on Katars, it's a chore getting in basically. Like it's not like it's free. You can't just get in by spacing your tilt airs. And his special is still really amazing on.
Oh, it's so good. Come at me, bro. My special will stop it. That's
I
my
know.
favorite thing. Like charged moves with the lance. Lucian's signature just totally grabs them out of it. Do that
Yeah.
again. Do it again.
I charge with those, but yeah.
I missed it. Mistimed it. The timing is tricky, but it does happen.
Yeah, it happens. I've beaten people because they tried to attack me when I had guns, and I was just standing there and I just signatured them. Like it happened a lot. I don't know. That's something that's really good. And then the guitar heavies, like if you get someone on with guitars, what you have to do is get someone to orange and then like stand still, and then pressure with that, and just do that and like force them to get around it, because eventually they're gonna make a mistake and run into a heavy. They're so fast, and that's the secret, everybody. That's how you play guitar. Get someone to orange and then just hit them with heavies until they die. Like, it's really hard to play against.
Yep.
Which is like, I think it's a problem that'll go away once the new signatures come out. But like in the meantime, I think they do a lot of force compared to how easy they are to land, or how fast they are, I guess.
So one of the changes everybody's talking about in patch was to the new neutral air directional movements, which apparently has affected guitar players quite a bit. Where now if you press up and diagonal instead of just straight up or straight neutral, where you previously used to do an air neutral with some movement, you now are doing a side tilt. How do you feel about this?
Sucks for keyboard players. I use a controller. It's never been. I let go of my buttons when I do a neutral. That's just from playing Smash so much. That's just how you have to do it. Like I'll get going forward and then just let go of the stick entirely and then do a neutral. So.
Yeah, apparently what people are complaining about is that with certain weapons like the spear and the guitar, you actually had more. You could actually control your momentum somewhat previously.
I mean, okay, but did you see what I like with the lance? I mean, you just let go and then start holding it again.
So should we basically be telling people like stop being salty, just get good, noob?
No, I don't want to say that. It's just it's not a change that affected me, so I can't understand their plight. Like, cause like I said, I've played Smash, so that's how you do it in Smash. You just have to let go of the button entirely. You couldn't, if you were holding forward, you'd get a forward attack, even if it was diagonal. So that's just what I'm used to.
That's fair.
And then if you let go really fast and then keep holding it again, when the animation starts, you can still get the movement on the. Like it's not like that movement went away. You just have to. You have to let go of it first.
Fair enough. I don't know. I never incorporated this before. Like all of my neutrals, like I never positioned them to have any forward movement. I was just like, what? It's a neutral. Like it's supposed to just go straight up, right?
Oh, but you can get a little bit more use out of them when you're moving around.
Well, that's good to know.
Like the that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to move forward a little bit to get the neutral to hit after the. You know, you have to move just a little bit, but
yeah,
it's just little things like that that I guess matter a lot. If that's what you're used to doing on keyboard, and then they just change it. Like if they changed one of my buttons that I usually use, I'm gonna be hitting that button all the time and doing the wrong thing. So I understand.
yeah. Welcome to the 1-6 dodge change. They released ranked right when they changed the way that everything dodges on controller.
What was it? What was it before?
So previously, if you did a dodge, you would move a direction, right?
Oh,
they changed it to neutral dodge. So if you played on a pad like I did, left trigger would dodge you left and right trigger would dodge you right, and that's the way I'd been playing for 4 months.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So like, I didn't complain about it. I was just like, come beat me while I'm gonna be sucking at this game.
Yeah, that's another thing that Smash got me good at. Was dodging like that. With the stick anyways. I always did it. I played a little bit before that patch, so I just dodged with the stick.
Yeah.
So I've been lucky so far. One day, they'll change something. I wasn't even looking.
That was awesome. Man.
I was looking at chat.
Lucian OP!
Yeah. So one day they'll change something that I do, and I'll mess up a lot of inputs, but for now I've been lucky.
Yeah, I think what it is it's just another one of those things that just kind of came out of left field, where like the competitive community is like, what? This was a complaint? We haven't seen a single post. We haven't heard like a single complaint about this. No one's mentioned it on the forums or the Reddit. And now all of a sudden there's a change. Like,
yeah.
And I think that was probably why there was more of a reaction to it. like I said, for me, it hasn't really affected me much. We'll see. Like, one of the interesting things that Tavares pointed out on the forums today is that, you know, part of them being in closed beta is they're really trying to find the best way for the game to control before they start adding all the customization options and, like, you know, advanced options on, and, you know, do you want diagonal air inputs to result in neutrals or tilts, you know, and all stuff like that. Like, they're really trying to nail down, like, the best baseline way for the game to play before they start letting everybody get all crazy with their customizations. And I think that's fair. Like, I think that's a really important part of the beta process, and especially for a fighting game like this, where you're trying to make it compatible for all these controls and playstyles and the rest of it. And, you know, whether you like the change or don't like the change, like, the thing is, and this is a big part of the reason why I've stuck with this game for so long, is because all of the changes that they've made to the game have been very deliberate. Like, they don't jump to the same conclusions that we do as quickly because they realize they're responsible for making a better game.
Yeah.
But I don't think that Blue Mammoth is being irresponsible or thoughtless with a lot of this stuff. There's always a reason for why they change things. It's just not always the reason the competitive community wants.
Yeah.
So,
which is fine. I mean,
yeah.
We're not the only players for the game.
No, and I would imagine that, like, you know, when Brawlhalla releases and if it gets huge, like, the competitive community is still only going to be a small percentage of it. You know,
Yeah,
like,
that's how it is.
we're the people where, like, where most people would be like, oh yeah, it'd be totally cool, like, play at a party and get drunk. We're like, must destroy all opponents everywhere. You know, and people like us are a little bit fewer and far between. But anyway, oh, the bomb bounce. All right, so I guess that's like all the big stuff for this patch.
There's the new sounds. Yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, that totally changed the balance. It basically makes
it
swords. It makes swords more powerful because the noises are so flippin' annoying now.
Real gun nerf was the sounds that came with them.
Oh, the new gun sounds are so terrible, man. Like, I wish we could just go back to all of the 1.1 sounds where it was all negligible, right? Like, and that's the thing. Like, in design, they have constantly said, like, this has been written down in multiple books, is that the best design is the stuff you don't notice. If it's designed well, you don't even notice it.
Yeah.
That's exactly how the 1.1 sounds were. They were perfect. There was nothing wrong with them, and yet they've been, like, paying all this money to some guy somewhere who is just making the sounds worse every time they're updated.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to criticize too much, but it's really, like, when you hear it, it's like you slash with a sword on someone who's wearing just cloth, and it sounds like you just hit, like, another sword.
Yeah, it sounds like you're in a cathedral, like in episode 4 of Cowboy Bebop, like shattering stained glass window constantly. Like, oh man, it's just, I don't know. Like, the music in the game, I think, is fantastic.
Yeah.
I love the new music tracks. I think that the music composition is awesome. But the hit sounds have been bothering me ever since they started changing them since, like, 1.2.
Yeah. It's like every weapon now just has this, like, really awkward sound with it, and I don't know. It's every patch they add sounds, it's jarring, and I dislike it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm just not used to it, but yeah.
I still hate the new unarmed sounds too. Like, there's so much bass in them. Like, if you look at my volume schemes, like, the music is always turned up louder than the sounds because the sounds are so overly loud at default. Like, I don't know. I'm just picky because I'm, like, an audiophile. Like, I get overly picky about all things audio everywhere. So
Sounds like my headphones are breaking when people hit with gun attacks.
yeah.
That's just what it sounds like. And then the recovery move.
That one. It's so loud.
Yeah, the recovery
When it
move when you
hits.
hit with the whole thing, that many hits that quick. It sound like, as Potts keeps saying, it sounds like dubstep. Like, it's ridiculous.
They just need to add, like, bass drops every time you hit a signature move, and then, like, like an announcer, like, somewhere in the background screaming, "Excellent!"
Yeah. As they should have been. Yeah.
Oh man, TWK Smash is dropping some hilarious comments in the chat box right now.
Yeah. I have chat up.
Oh man.
It's on my phone, yeah.
Well, maybe what we should do now at this point, since I think we've talked about all of the big changes, is to like open it up for questions. We've also got a bunch of other like really significant competitive community members in here. And guys, like I will say last time, like this is a big part of the reason why I worked on getting the chat overlay in to the stream, is because last time we got a lot of good comments and questions and they weren't present. And the devs told me that after we put out the last video where we discussed about the competitive meta like this, that they did watch it at Blue Mammoth Games. So the devs are paying attention to this. So just wanted to point that out. That's part of why I love the devs.
It's too much pressure. I can't handle it. Devs watching this, you know.
You're just gonna have to deal with it, man. You're just gonna have to deal with it. Oh, look at this new tech, the new tech from TWK Smash. Did you watch his video about the platform stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still need to work on it, but
I can do it with Hattori, not Ada. All right. It's not important with Ada anyways. There.
it is good stuff.
Yeah, it was a really good video.
Yeah, it was. It's one of the things I'm glad that like he's here doing some of that stuff, because for me, like, I'm really good at breaking down basics. I'm not very good at like figuring out technical details, so I was really psyched to see a video like that.
So in your chat, the guy was asking about lance spam.
Mm-hmm.
With the lances, like they have certain ways that they can attack you. It's a lot of horizontal range that they cover. So if you try to like stay out of their areas of attack, it's a lot harder for them to get in. And then you really have to respect their like the jab and the neutral air when they're in the air.
Yeah.
And once you start respecting all of those things, it makes it easier to fight them. Otherwise, you just like if someone doesn't know how to fight against a lance, you can just spam some moves and it'll work.
Yeah, the lance has really, really great priorities in specific situations. Like, that's kind of... Why don't you play Hattori and I'll play, like, Orion or somebody?
Sure.
Yeah, these guys all have completely different weapon sets. But yeah, like, pretty much with spamming moves, like, people are always going to spam moves that have high priority. So, you know, if you're losing out to them, like weapon tosses, I used to be able to say things like, yes, just toss weapons. It's a great tactic, but it really isn't anymore unless you're in a position to follow up with an unarmed attack. It's not like before where, like, if I can get a lance, we can demonstrate this. Because, like, before with lances, it used to be like you would see this, right? And so you'd dodge it, and then you would punish with, like, a throw, right? Because you didn't want to get close to the lance, so you would just throw your weapon.
I'm not throwing the weapon.
I can see that, but that's
I'm
okay.
not doing it.
But yeah, it's kind of like you have to understand where the lance wins and where it loses. So like this air neutral has a lot of good priority. It is you can dodge through it as we saw Rune just do, but it's something where you kind of have to have the timing right. And this move right here is like will come out faster than everything on the ground. Like this move, it looks like nothing. It's amazing.
Yeah, you have to go over it. There's no way. Yeah. All right. And come from above, and that's what you have to do.
Yeah, the thing with like any kind of spam is like you have to figure out what you can do to the other guy to prevent him from just doing that. And, you know, with lances it's hard because if your only approach is to get really close, and you can't force them off the ground, then you're going to run into some troubles with that. So if you can take them to the air, it's a little bit easier because their air options are a little bit more limited. But it's just something that you have to force them out of the spam habits, basically.
Yeah.
With something. The problem with sword down air spam is you can't force them not to do it.
Hey man, I didn't make the option. I'm just using it. But yeah, it's really strong. I think it needs some kind of cooldown because you could just keep using it and it's okay.
Yeah, I think it's something that I would have complained more about it, but just didn't really feel the need to previously, and now I'm feeling the pain.
Dude, you interrupted my combo with that move. I didn't like that.
Man, deal with it, Ruin.
I was on like 4 hits. I was going for the high score. Come on, man.
Bob's pointing out a pretty good point. If everyone plays Hattori, then we don't need to worry about about countering lances, and as Maximus is saying, then the game would just be perfectly balanced. So
Yeah, that's a lot how Melee is balanced. There's 5 characters in that game.
yeah, it's like
There it is,
Meta
balanced
Knight,
great.
Fox, Falco, and like one other one.
Well, Meta Knight's Brawl, but yeah,
Fair enough.
He's the only character in that game. So there's that.
I don't know anything about Smash other than
Yeah.
I like playing Zero Suit, and it's really funny to zone people with Rosalina.
All right.
um,
Well, basically, there's 26 characters in Melee, and you can use about 6 of them in tournament, or else you just get destroyed. So.
right.
And then people say it's good balance, and I'm just like,
Well,
there's so many characters.
it's
in
the
this game
thing.
that
It's
you
like,
can't win with.
but see, that's the thing though. Is like I think that's okay for Smash. I totally do. Like because the 1v1 competitive scene for Smash makes up like what, an nth of its player base.
Yeah,
Like maybe half a percentage of the people who have played Smash Brothers play it competitively.
yeah,
Right? So it's compare that to like something like Street Fighter, where everyone who plays Street Fighter either wants to play it competitively or is playing it competitively. Like there's no casual Street Fighter scene. Nobody's like, "Hey dude, come over for a Street Fighter party," you know? Like
yeah.
so I think, and I think that's one of the things, I think that's a similar situation to where we're in, and why, like, when I do a tier list, I'm like, this is a 1v1 tier list, and why I don't expect, like, everybody to be perfectly even, because if you're making this game for it to be fun for all types of players, you're never going to get 1v1 balance just right.
Yeah.
You know, like, you have to have characters that are cool, but useless in 1v1. You know, like, I don't know, like Ness, dude. That is a cool-ass character. Or like, shoot, Captain Falcon. Dude,
Bowser.
I remember when I was so psyched about Captain Falcon, I was like, this is cool. It's like a dude with flaming punches. I barely remember playing F-Zero or the fact that he was a character in it. But who cares? Like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Same thing with like Sheik and Zelda. Like Sheik's actually good in Smash 4, but like in previous iterations, it was like Sheik Zelda as a single character was just painfully awful.
Well, in the Brawl it was. In Melee, Sheik's one of the 6 characters you can use.
Oh, that's comforting.
Yeah.
See if I can catch this. Oh, I didn't plink it.
Listen, Chudat plays Kirby in not Melee. He plays Ice Climbers in Melee. And I hate how he plays. Oh, God. But it's not a Smash game. We can stop.
Yeah, well, we
Sorry
can
about that,
stop
yeah.
talking about Smash now. We got a little sidetracked. But I think it's
Yeah.
relevant to the idea that, like, I'm okay if they get to a point where, like, if they built 6 characters with different weapon sets that all had Hattori's stats, and that's what was in 1v1, I'd be okay with that. I really would. Like,
I'm dead. Okay. No, stop.
but I want to
Explosives,
kill
stop.
you. I hate your swords.
Well, we have Frax and Hattori right now that have high dex and speed. I think nobody really plays, right? There's like 2 Frax players, but people
Yeah.
can start picking that up. He's
Manswer,
good.
who's like #1 with him.
Yeah, he's like Vax is really good. People can just do that.
Hey, to be fair, Vrax was the last guy that I played in the ladder. After losing to Mancer so much, I was like, dude, what the flip? And then I was like, okay, I have new tech to steal.
Yeah. Okay, the slide kick didn't hit anything else. Oh, that was good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'll just throw that. No, didn't work. The other thing when you're playing lances, if you get mines and you put them in front of you, they can't heavy you.
This is true. Well, they can't ground heavy you.
Yeah. Because they run into the mine. So you could just, if you're having problems with them ground heavying you, just put a mine. That's what I do. It also forces them into the air if they want to approach, so that's good. My downers are not on point.
That's because I keep uppercutting early to like screw with your face.
I know. I don't like it.
It's because you're not as aggressive as Taibo. You need to learn to become one with the rage inside of you to
Just-
to play Hattori well. Oh man.
I got this. Hold on.
And it looks like a whole bunch of people in chat are going to be coming out to the mini tournament on Saturday, which is
Yeah.
exciting. I'm really actually like looking forward to being able to cast this with knowing or having at least briefly played a lot of these people. And I'm really excited to see who's going to end up taking it.
It's gonna be me. Just saying. I got you. Spoilers. I'm gonna win. Sorry, everybody else. No, I'm not. I'm joking. Okay. See right there? You can, after the roll, you can downlight with a Tori. That's too slow. Why did I saw you charging and I dodged Eve anyways.
Woohoo! It's because I'm being
So
quiet.
Yeah.
I'm like, I will do stuff. Ruin is still being distracted by stream.
That was so bad.
It's one of those moves where like you want it to be good. I really wish they would just like reskin Thatch off of like Luffy from One Piece and give him like really big, stretchy arm moves or something. Because that would be awesome.
That
So is
has
it-
to be the best example of what we were talking about with stats mattering so much. Because he's had the best weapons in multiple patches, and like he's not good.
Right, because the force that he has just doesn't matter. The attack damage isn't
Yeah.
doing it for him. His movement speed's fine,
Yeah.
but his attack speed, because attack speed got so much more important with the stats rework. You know, when it affected things like how far you traveled with moves, and I'm just like, why? I mean, like I understand they want to make the characters unique, but like when you've got these common weapon sets, the stats is just making that so much more like problematic.
Yeah.
Yeah, get hit. Oof. I hate how that hits people on the wall.
What do you mean?
Like, okay, so if I'm on the wall and you have to jump off the wall to do a down light, it will still hit me.
What do you mean? Like that?
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, like that. Okay, I know what you mean now. Okay.
that's part of what makes it really good. In my opinion. That's also part of like what makes it really good. On Hattori is like, oh, you dive kicked me? Excuse me while I just force you out of the sky. Like, it's actually come to a point now where I think it's beneficial for Hattori to eat dive kicks.
Dude. You just gotta get to a really high percent, and then swords can't combo you anymore.
This is true.
Perfect. That's so just get hit a lot, and then they can't hit you as much. Guys, I figured it out for you. Don't worry.
Man.
I didn't want that anyways. It's fine. held that for so long.
I know, it probably did 10 points of damage.
Yeah, maybe. If you were lucky.
Oh,
I messed that up. That was...
well, you're on Thatch. Timing is all awful and different.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah!
Uh,
Alright, well, is there anything else that you think we should discuss before we call this an excellent video and carry on to some other stuff?
yeah, there's one thing I want to address as far as the tier list go. I've seen people like recently say like, oh look, I won a game with Thatch. Like obviously he's not broken anymore, or he's not like, you know, bad because I can win. But I think people need to understand that that's not what tier lists represent. Like yeah, of course. A really good player can play a bad character and still do really good.
Yeah.
But if, like, let's say they were playing Hattori instead of playing Thatch, they would have probably done a lot better. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just because you can win games. Obviously, no one's saying you can't win with Thatch. It's not impossible.
It's about
just,
consistency.
yeah.
And it's also about, like, kind of ease as well, like you were saying. Like, not about how easy it is to execute, but how easy it is to pull out a win.
Yeah.
It's that whole thing. Like, and honestly, like something that I would like to do at some point is to take, because, you know, every time we have a tournament as well, like I think tournaments are usually a pretty good indicator of tier lists, because the choices of, you know, what people play in like a ranked match is still different from what they decided to take into a tournament.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm really interested on Saturday to see what people are going to bring to that. I'm actually considering thinking about waiting on the tier list until after Saturday so that I can reference the tournament.
Yeah.
Because I'm interested to see who shows up with what.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of Hattoris.
It is going to be a lot of Hattoris.
I'm definitely going to be one of them. Just
Yeah.
throwing that out there.
Hey, man, I've played 2 tournaments with Hattori, so... Last tournament I played with Cassidy and Ada because I was like trying to prove a point or something, but
Yeah. I played
it almost works. I got top 8.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, top 8, man. That's what FGC is all about, right? Top 8.
Yeah, top eight matters a lot, you know? Well, it was an 80-man tournament, though, so that's, you know, not terrible. But yeah, that's all. Like, I just wanted to make sure people, like, at least heard that. Because I've heard people say, like, oh, you know, if you can win, it's not bottom tier. Like, that's not what that means.
Yeah, people wreck me with Dan online all the time when I play Street Fighter. It doesn't mean that he's god tier.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
like... And I think that's one of the other things, too, is, like, what I really want at some point is to get actual frame data from the devs. Because I know they have it. I'm not sure. Part of the reason why they haven't shared it is because it's not built on, like, a traditional frame-by-frame system. So... Will you stop dodging everything? I'm hitting you with weapons, but it just doesn't matter. Anyway. Magbob wants us to complain more about the input changes so it'll go away, but as we discussed
about it.
previously,
Yeah.
it doesn't affect either of us in how we play, so
Sorry, guys.
sorry, you're gonna have to continue to be loud on your own. Could you not just, like, run?
I needed a weapon. I'm not fighting unarmed. That's horrible. I'm not.
Get out of here, Vrax!
And I'm Brax. What do you want me to say?
Axeman! The game doesn't run on 60 frame per second ticks the way most fighting games do. It runs on some other system where, like, a frame is like some weird combination of milliseconds that everything's calculated on. I've tried to tell the devs that this is gonna confuse everyone, and they tried to explain it to me. I got confused, and I just left it alone after that.
Yeah. It's weird, you know. But because when everyone thinks frames, they think, you know, frames per second. But
Exactly, and this is built on something else, so... Yo!
I'll take that 1 damage. Oh no, that's a little bit more than 1 damage.
Woo! Yeah, Genesis SOC, I agree with you. The whole like sound proc thing before damage happening is really annoying, and I think it's something that they've been working on fixing and just haven't been able to find like a good balance between fixes and netcode. Is TWK Smash really dropping the dad jokes in chat? He is. Like, dude, stop. I'm Taros. I'm trying to get to the one weapon on the board right now.
I mean, man, we were talking about it before, and I need to, you know, show it.
Gotta get rid of all these extra weapons so that I can actually
So
get
more will
something.
spawn?
Yes, on my side of the map, thanks. Ah, damn it. I tried
take
to
this
dodge, but... Ugh. Wow, you actually connected with it.
I love that move. It's good. People don't think it's good. It's good.
How is it good?
You just need to space with it, and it's really fast and punishes a lot of things.
Man, if only Taros had fast, punishable signature moves.
No.
That was
knew
the
it was
best
coming.
noise.
It's the sound. Oh no, I missed the hook. Oh,
Yeah.
That's the sound that happens when I know something's gonna hit me.
That's exactly right, Sir Pots and Pans. Taros is not a real character until he gets an axe. Oh, if I'd hit you with that, son. If I'd hit you with that, that would have been brutal. Oh man, so air tilt with the axe does not have priority over the guns. Guns will beat every time. That's good to know. I haven't played a lot of guns, people. Because I'm gonna die. No, damn it. His moves have so much recovery that I can't dodge after messing one up. Like, that's another Taros challenge. It just like feels like such a struggle with him, like constant struggle.
Yeah. That's.
And you're not even good with Frax.
Whoa. Oh, you're right.
Shots fired. Oh man.
But yeah, I was playing I played him last patch to joke around when I was playing with Retax. And at one point I realized that he wasn't as bad as I thought he was to start with. And I was like, oh, he's not bad.
Dude, Mancer totally opened up my eyes to Vrax, dude.
Yeah.
After like hearing Compton complain about Vrax being underpowered for like weeks, and then I'm like, no, I think you're just suffering from old man syndrome like I am, where you can't adapt to the new stuff.
Yeah, that's very possible because Vrax is a solid pick for sure.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I think I'm gonna go ahead and take a break and have a cigarette. You're welcome to stay on in the stream if you want to hold it down for me. You know, I love that because you know how lazy I am when I come to this stuff. I'm just like, oh, people want Brawlhalla. All right, I guess I'll do it. But Mortal Kombat, I really want to be in the training lab right now, working on combos with Takeda. So you know, that's my mind state. So Mortal Kombat Training Lab is going to happen, but I do want to play a little bit more of Brawl when I get back. I bet Tybo's probably itching for some matches. That's what you should do. I want to see like a Hattori versus Hattori match, you versus Tybo. Be good like tournament warm-up for both you guys.
That's true. I mean, yeah, so everyone can see the numbers if they want to join in while you take a break.
Cool.
I'll play till you get back.
All right, man. Sounds good. Thanks again for coming on and doing this. Like, I really like this method of being able to talk through this stuff in more detail.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
Yeah, and it's definitely fun too. So
Awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying it. For me, I'm just like, yes, and welcome back again to Radio Raven, where I make people talk to me about stuff. So, and everybody in chat seems to like it. I mean, there's like 23 people in Twitch, which is like baller for me. So,
nice.
yeah. All right. I'm going to take a short break. Ruin, you're the man in charge. Someone get in. Oh, look, Tybo's in.
All right.
All right.
It's good.
Get ready for a preview of the possible semi or finals on on Saturday, people. Get ready. Good luck, man.
Yep. I'm not gonna talk very much while I'm focusing, but that's all right.
Three, two, one, brawl!
Well, yep.
Player 2 wins. Three, two, one, brawl.
Taibo laying down the hurt. I think the best way to describe how Taibo plays is that he plays with no fear. There is like zero hesitation in the way that he plays.
Player 2 wins.
Oh man. All right. I'm going to get a match in and then I'm probably going to close down the stream.
All right. Well, I'll get off. I'll get off Skype.
All right, man. Thanks a whole bunch for coming on and talking through everything with me. I'm really enjoying this.
Yeah, man. Always a pleasure.
Lord
No, I'll see you in the next batch.
All right, and I'll see you at the tournament on Saturday.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yep.
That's true.
It'll be good. I'll be hyping you up, man.
All right.
All right. Talk to you later, Ruin.
See you.
Bye. All right. Scroyan, if you want to come on and do a match, why don't you hop on before after this one with Taibo? And then I'm going to transition over to Mortal Kombat X because I need to practice up again soon. Potts, if you want to come on and do Skype at some point, I'd be happy to have more community guest stars. It is something that I would like to do, is have more people from the competitive community into this. So oh yeah, Hattori can do that because she just don't care. Ah! Oh, these down light nerfs. Oh my goodness, the range on that hitbox. Ooh, I got a kill. Whew. Oh my goodness. Oh, and there I go, blowing myself up. Yeah, okay then. Yeah, this is part of the reason why I think Hattori is too strong right now, because of this style of play. Like, we're basically... If she gets dive kicked, she can just attack right afterwards, and it doesn't matter. If she gets you in an edge guarding situation, there's almost no way for you to recover if she doesn't mess up. If she gets stunned by a weapon toss, she can just attack immediately afterwards before you can react. And it's just like a combination of all these things that are just making her too difficult to deal with right now. Like... I don't know. I feel like she has no real disadvantages anymore because the her low armor just doesn't matter with the weapon damage removal. So, although I am gonna wait to do another tier list until after the tournament, you guys can pretty much expect Hattori to be back in S tier due to all these changes.
Player 2 wins.
Modern Shio, I think a lot of these things do apply to Bodvar as well, because of the stuff on, you know, his sword works the same way as Hattori's. But Bodvar doesn't have, like, the ridiculous amount of speed that Hattori does. So it's like, I don't know. It's not as big of a deal, I guess. Alright, so Skroyan is in. I haven't played Skroyan in quite a while. He plays Hattori. I will spare people the Hattori v Hattori matchup. I will play someone else.
Lord Vrax.
We'll stick with Vrax. What do you mean by that, Exodrom? Like, the way that I think about fighting game balance is that every action should have some kind of appropriate response, right? So, like, if we think about this in, like, the simplest fighting game terms, where, let's say, fireballs, right? Fireballs in Street Fighter. Someone who's new to Street Fighter will say fireball spam is overpowered, right? Because they don't know how to deal with it. They don't understand that you can respond to fireballs in like 3 different ways. I'm dead already because I'm not paying attention. So with fireballs, you can either force dash cancel through them or whatever it's called. It's been a while since I've seriously played Street Fighter. You can jump over the fireball. Some characters have moves that go under or over fireballs. Or you can toss your own projectile. So there's like 5 ways to deal with fireballs, right? The problem is that right now there is no consistent way to deal with Hattori. The air down light that I complain about that because there's no real way to deal with it, because you can't outdistance it, you can't avoid it. You're put into situations where you will just get hit by it regardless of what you do movement-wise, or you'll just fall off the map. So the way that I look at it is, you know, you can point out like Kreutzberg beating Hattori once with Thatch, but that doesn't mean that Hattori is balanced. What that means is that Kreutzberg, who is one of the top 5 players at this game, won a match once with Thatch versus a Hattori. And if he was playing against Skroyan, it matters even less because he plays Skroyan all the time. Like, he knows exactly how Skroyan plays. It was like, for a while, me and Misfit played so much that I knew Misfit's patterns so well that I could beat him with any character. If you go back and look at my old character spotlight videos from back in the day, you can see me going, like, every video I won every set against Misfit because I just knew all of his patterns. So unless you put players of equal skill who know, you know, those characters and put them in a 10 set where they play 10 matches in a row with the same characters, and Thatch comes out and wins 5 games out of 10, then all of the time, then you can say that Thatch is balanced. But I would argue that if you were to put people in that scenario, that Thatch would not win 5 times out of 10. Thatch would probably win 3, maybe 4 times out of 10. That's the way that you have to think about game balance. It's not about these isolated incidents where someone has a good match. Brawlhalla is very much a game of momentum. Like, anybody with any character can win a match once. That's fine. But that's also why in tournament settings, you have to win multiple matches, and you have to win at more stocks than you do in your average ranked 1v1 match. So, when I'm saying things like, you know, the air down light is too good, I'm not saying that because it beats me a lot. You know, because I've lost a match or two to it. I can still beat Hattori's every now and again when I'm on top of my game. It's fine. But when it beats me consistently in the same scenarios over and over again and I don't have ways to respond to it, then it becomes an issue where there's something wrong with the game balance. It doesn't have to do with who I'm playing or how I'm playing. It just has to do with the fact that there is a move that is likely overpowered because there aren't enough responses to it. So I understand what you're saying as far as, like, me crying wolf about things. Like, it's an easy way to interpret everything, but I honestly, like, if you watch a lot of my streams, you'll notice I don't really main any single character. Like, I don't really play ranked anymore. Like, the whole reason why I do all of this is because I'm trying to just get better perspective on the game balance. That's all I'm trying to do. You know, that's why I play the entire cast. Nice.
Player 1 wins.
I think one of the biggest problems with the startup frames and with recovery frames in this game is the fact that it's all reliant on characters' dexterity and attack speed, because the challenge is that instead of it being like on the sword, the neutral light has 8 frames of startup. With Hattori, it has 5 frames of startup. On Bodvar, it has 8 frames of startup. On Thatch, it has 9 frames of startup. And because of this, like, you can't look at the weapons and the characters as the same thing. And, like, that's one of the really challenging things about this game, is that with the stat system in place, it's really hard to say, like, oh, the sword is broken. Well, is it really the sword or is it really Hattori? So like the downlight on the sword is something I've seen used with every character that has a sword, from Roland to Hattori. Whereas like the downlight, you know, rush down spam that's unique to Hattori is something I've only really seen on her. So that's kind of how I think about it differently. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, Blue Mammoth has complained to me about how, like, they're trying to figure out what to do with Hattori because she's the most played champion. And a lot of it is just because she's easier to play than everyone else. Like, her attack speed and movement speed make her more fun and easier to play. Yeah, that's a really good example, Maximus. Like, it's something where, like, if you don't have one of those 3-frame reversals in Street Fighter, like, it does drop you down like a whole tier. Like, I don't know. Oh my god. Watch me get 5 stocked as Teros. Game balance is a tricky thing. It really is. And, you know, like, so, like, for Injustice, for example, like, a lot of the balance relied around, setups and then conversions off of those setups, right? So characters that could create openings with good mix-ups and then capitalize off of them, like that's where a lot of the tier lists were made from for Injustice. And damn it, and also to Mortal Kombat for some reason. It's something where, ooh, I got a hit. Damn it. Playing Teros in this situation makes him feel like molasses. I think that with Brawlhalla, like, it's harder for me to comment on balance from a very knowledgeable standpoint because I never played Smash. And this is clearly, like, a game that was built around Smash concepts more so than Street Fighter. But it's... If we want to create a game that's balanced to where every character is viable, I feel like that right now the stat system is not a good way to do that. The stat system is not providing any extra level of viability for characters, and it's just creating a lot of confusion over, probably even in the core character design process.
Lucian.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens in the long run. Like, the thing that I've noticed about Blue Mammoth games is that they honestly give a shit. Like, they really care about their game, and they really care about this community that's sprung up around it. Like, they care. They're not just going to, like, hang us out to dry. They're going to listen to our opinions, they're going to interpret it and not take it at face value, but look at it from the lens of being game designers. And, you know, continue to make a better game out of this. So we'll just, my stance is it's like, let's talk about things, let's provide some opinions, let's get developers, and then they're ultimately going to make a decision. You know, and it's going to keep moving forward. That's kind of the way that I look at it. Alright, so let's do one last final match here against Skroyan. I'll freak him out playing Lucian, since that's what Kreutzberg plays. And then after this, I'm going to shut this down and go get my Mortal Kombat combo workshop on, because tomorrow I am going to be at a buddy's house playing Mortal Kombat all night, and I need to get my combos and fatalities memorized. Oh, that was weird. Do you guys want me to stream Mortal Kombat? Because if you do, I will totally turn on the stream. But it's probably going to be like me in the combo workshop going like, oh, why can't I get this to connect? No, it's okay, Exodrom. Like, you did come off like that a little bit, but I understand, like, a lot of the times, like, when people in the competitive community are talking about this stuff, it's because they care about things, not because they're, like, being salty at me. So, like, you know, I hope I didn't come off as being, like, super aggressive or anything either. It's just, like, that's the way these games are. Like, passions are high because we all love the game. You know, and to me, that's a good thing. Like, it's really cool when people really just are so into something that they get this passionate about it. Man, Lucian, dude. Whoa, that went along the edge. Oh, I walked right into that. I was hoping he'd dodge. What's up, Ninja fans? How's it going, man? There are a couple devs on Reddit, and if there's a like really important post on Reddit they haven't seen, I will message them on Steam and let them know. Because I'm on Reddit quite frequently. What the heck? There we go. Yeah, the air neutral changes with the amount of cooldown time really hurt the gunplay from what I've seen. Oh my god, the uppercut guards. Yeah, Tyvo's montage is like mainly me in pots and pans. So you can look forward to like me getting my ass kicked repeatedly in that. God, the new gun neutral is terrible too. Ugh. No! God. Ugh. If I mained a character, I wouldn't be this bad. I swear to you. I would be decent. Oh my goodness. Alright guys, I'm gonna head out and go over to good old Mortal Kombat.